You got an audible? Audible? All right. This is
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Student Media Podcast. As you can see, I am alone. Deacon is not with me, and as you can also see, our guest is not two women's basketball players from Central Washington University, but it is none other than our favorite photographer that we've had on the show before, Dylan Hanson. Dylan, what is going on, man?
Nothing much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on the show again. Nothing, just had a really relaxed weekend, and finally, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
That almost sounded like I threw you like on the back burner, like, oh yeah, we were supposed to have two basketball players on, but we got Dylan and said, no, we get to have Dylan on this week because those two basketball players bailed. So,
I'm glad to be here. Yeah. No, I think it would be funny if I was like, actually, and then they come in.
As my friend says, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, exactly. This show's the first time it was fun to do. So yeah, I'm ready for this one. Yeah.
You are our second repeat guest, I believe, or third or second. You might be our third. It's special category though, because there's only three of them. So you're in there. As the quarter's winding down, just how you feeling about all the work that you've put in for student media this quarter? As obviously you're the Pulse photographer, and in the past you've been the Observer photographer before, but just this quarter specifically, how do you feel about the work that you and the other staff members have done so far? And the magazine's coming out right around the corner, so
yeah. No, I think it's like the beginning of each quarter where this is now this past quarter we just finished up would be my third quarter of being the photo editor for the magazine. So definitely I've gotten used to the rhythm of like where we start and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of stuff to do, but then it gets a little less overwhelming each time. But then there's always new problems, which is cool. But it was cool to see the new photography staff we had come in, help out and really like bring their A game and helping them out with whatever. And that collaboration was really fun. We get to do a lot more like video content too, which is something we always talked about in the past. So I'm really excited for that stuff to start coming out. We already had one promo that I really like. And I'm also just always amazed by like the writers and the design team, especially the designers, just because they have to put in so much work towards the tail end and have to adapt so much to like what changes and stories being cut or stories being changed in the fly, stuff like that, and they're shaping the magazine, especially Michaela, our lead designer right now. It's really cool to come and see her work, the finishing touches she does. It's really impressive.
And the tail end for the designers is because they kind of just have to sit back and wait until they see what they have to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine how tough that is, because I personally, I like to get out ahead of things if I can and start working on them as early as possible. But when you don't have content, you can't do it.
Yeah, that's like definitely, I feel like I'm not a super anxious person, but I feel like I'd be extra anxious if I was a designer in their position, because you have to wait for the photos and the writing. And sometimes a lot of times we'll do photos for stuff that has been written just because of how fast we have to, crank stuff out in order for the process to run the way it's organized at the moment, and which is actually kind of fun because it's kind of a cool thing for like a month or sometimes a little bit longer. There's always like one or two straggler stories that maybe we have to rearrange our like angle at, I guess, with photography. But I don't know where I was going with this, but it's cool to do that rat race, but I do definitely feel for them the anxiety of that. Yeah, having to wait for everything to change. So there's one thing too. I preface is trying to get photos out to them as soon as possible, and just I think one of the biggest lessons too is that we learned was, especially my first quarter, was just communication, just talking to everybody, and just make sure we're on the same page, and like just annoying everybody, being like, okay, these things are in, even if it's like a minor thing can like spiral and become a larger problem. So just getting
Yeah,
those
if you don't get
out there.
on top of it right away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think I'm kind of like, hopefully like you in the same mindset. I mean this for myself, of just trying to get ahead of things. That way you can take a breath once it's all done, more so.
You mentioned getting to do a little more video content this quarter than you've done in the past. Does your background in film and your studying of film, like, does that really influence what you guys have been doing this quarter in terms of that? And is that why you wanted to get back on the saddle of doing more video content?
Yeah, I definitely would say that's true, and it's always, we just have so much free reign with the video stuff we get to do, that it's really fun. The little bits we've done, we did a promo last quarter that was just really weird. And the fact that we got to put it out was just hilarious. And so that enticed me even more. I guess it was with film too, it's more so, because it's so different. We're doing like these social media promos, so I don't really see them as short films or anything like that, just since they're these really short kind of like,
It's not really telling a story in any way.
yeah, or if it is, it's so compacted, it's more like these tiny, I don't know, expressions of what the stories are and what we're doing with the magazine. So I think it's more fun in the way that we get to, because sometimes with the photos we have to be so, not, I mean, not entirely, but sometimes a little bit more restricted in terms of we have to we have to make sure that our photos are getting the point across of what the writers are writing, and we also have to make sure that they complement the designs of the story. So the videos, you just get a bit more room in order
Yeah.
to do so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's honestly one of the nice things about student media is how much the students have control over essentially everything. Obviously you got to get it approved because it has to be appropriate and whatnot before you can put it out because it's representing the school and the communications department and student media department. But we get free reign. I mean, like, I get free reign to kind of do whatever I want on this podcast. Deacon and I do, I should say. And sometimes it's a bit of a downfall because our ideas don't always work the way we want them to, but live and you learn, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you get to, like you're saying, like you get to experiment with stuff. Um, and then if it doesn't work, you just like try something else, which is like so much fun. And there's a little bit, yeah, I really do like that creative freedom, because then I think we get students' voices across, in like all the in this magazine or in the Observer or Central News Watch, But I really appreciate that about Central as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking about our stories and moving along here, obviously, as being photographer and photographer or photograph editor, as you mentioned, you want to highlight some of the work that you guys have done this year, give a little sneak peek about what we've got coming out in the magazine in just a short week or so here.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I'll pull up. I kind of have this photography portfolio, but it has samples of um stuff that we did this quarter, and then I was also hoping to just put on display some stuff we did from the previous. They're all my photos for the moment, just because. Yeah, but we also have some great stuff coming from other photographers: Andrew, Ayla, Jacob, and then
Mhm.
they're all did and Sandra. I was like, I'm missing one person. Sandra did a story on slime that I'm very excited for. Weirdly, um, we also did a video for it, where we threw a bucket of slime on Jacob. But let me pull it up. Am I good to share my screen?
Absolutely. Lay it on us, man.
Cool.
This is usually the part in the show where I have technical difficulties, but it's out of my hands right now. So
I feel like it's all on you. Perfect. And then you're able to get my screen right now?
Yep.
Cool. Perfect. So yeah, here's one. So I'll show you some of the ones from the gender neutral fashion photo shoot we did at Bleeding the Balloon Punk. Hopefully this is showing up in like full quality over the screen, but
It looks
yeah.
pretty good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And then worst case, if people are like, I can't see this full resolution, I'll be like, go get the magazine.
Yeah, it's a sneak peek. It's all you get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, this is one, and the students who did this did a really good job at just like making that. We didn't tell them we didn't come up with the costumes ourselves. Basically, we reached out to the textiles and fashion department, or like, hey, would you guys like to put together some outfits that could be gender neutral clothing? And they went with this punk theme. that I really, really dig. Everything's very cohesive. You know, it was easy to pair people together.
I mean, even
Um,
the setting kind of goes with the punk theme too. Like who came up with that spot to go shoot there?
Oh, it was so me and a production group had shot there for like short films before, and I was like, man, that alleyway is really good. And I was like struggling to think of a spot that like, you know, be very punk. So I was like, okay, I'll show, you know, we'll go to this alleyway that I know of. And it worked really well. We found because the more you look around, there's all this stuff that like has such a grit and like kind of grime and
That
stuff.
that picture right there makes me think of Mexico. Like just the kind of the streets and some of the back alleys and stuff down there. Just that I don't know, that building, the concrete, you get some looks like there's a little spray paint or something on the wall back there. It just makes me think of another country.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it especially when you think about it and the fact that these photos are like taken in Ellensburg. Like if you know this
Yeah,
alleyway, it's not far off, but at the same time, this feels so different than anything else that's in our town.
right.
Um, yeah, which is yeah, and their outfits I think really highlight that. I think there's another photo in here from that. Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, here's another one. This was Lily. Hopefully I'm not forgetting the name. There's so many people. It was really great. All of them who came out. I think there was 7 models, and then yeah, and I'm really blanking on the names, but we have a video coming out where we got to interview the main people who put this together. I feel really bad. I'm forgetting everybody's name, um, and they get to talk about putting these outfits together, and yeah, it was really cool to see just like I don't know all these people like unifying together and helping us out. Like I was really appreciative of it, or at least hopefully it came across that way. But yeah, I definitely truly feel that. Yeah, and this is like one of my favorite photos from the shoot, just because I really like Spike Jones and his photography, like his skate photography. And I was
Yeah.
like, and so even though this isn't skate photography, there's like, certain elements of it, like the grime of his stuff that I was hoping to put in. And hopefully make, our own for the magazine. But yeah,
How
and there's
much equipment are you guys bringing to these shoots? Like what's all the stuff you guys are bringing whenever you're getting set up?
let me probably sometimes it's like a decent amount of stuff. For that one, it was pretty limited. It was just me, my camera bag, camera strap, and like my camera. And I shot that all on an 8 to 18 millimeter lens on the GH5. But sometimes like for certain shoots, we did this one for like energy drinks last quarter. And that one like had like more lights set up, or we did another story this quarter where we like shot in a photo studio. So it kind of depends on each story. I'm so used to not having access to stuff that I have to improvise and like shooting like natural lighting and like, or I have one LED tube light and I have to figure out how to make that look good. So, and hopefully it works somewhat, but yeah, usually not much to be honest. But actually for Roommate Horror Stories, we had a lot of lights left over from a previous shoot or from a shoot we were going to use that weekend for something else. I was like, oh, why don't we use these? So that photo shoot, I think that came out really well because we just had all this extra equipment that we usually don't have, which is nice. So we had all these hard lights coming, and yeah, and like poster boards and stuff behind them.
Yeah, using what you got is really important, especially whenever, like everything we do is kind of on a limited budget. So you got to work with what you have. And then it works out because we produced some really cool looking content like those shots that you took there. Is there any other ones that you wanted to highlight too?
Yeah, I'll pull up some. Which one of these ones am I okay with showing? Well, I'll show this one photo because uh this is of someone I know, and this is going to be in the magazine. But this is a photo for a story I pitched. I'll just show this one photo because the story's so short. I don't want to spoil the rest of it. But for like anybody who watches, this is of Julian Madden, and this is for Ellensburg inverted Ellensburg. And somehow they like let me do this photo shoot for the magazine. It's a 2-page story, so it's just a small filler, but at the same time, it was really weird. And even my description of it doesn't really explain why I wanted to do this, but I just had this really weird style that I always wanted to do 4 photos. And so I pitched this. And I think just because I've been around long enough, finally, they were just like, okay. I'm like, and
Yeah,
everybody was
you
pitching.
built that trust a little bit with them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, hopefully this does, I think the photos came actually really cool. I'm really excited for everybody to see them, but they're very strange. And it was funny, Noah would talk about it. He'd be like, it's kind of like when he would talk to other people, he'd be like, it's like Ellensburg in the Upside Down, like Stranger Things. I was like,
Oh, there you go.
which I was like, I'm glad you're saying that because then it symbolises it for people, but at the same time, it doesn't really look anything like Stranger Things. It's just weird.
It's just the thought process behind it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think it's easy way to summarize it, but yeah, and um there's also this photo. We have a photo from Washington D.C. we did. I don't know if I showed this in the last show. Be careful if I pull it up really fast.
Go ahead.
We did, so we went on a student media trip. I wrote about it in our last issue, and I competed in the photo competition. We did not win, but this was the photo we did. This is of Jacqueline Hickson. The only reason I'm remembering these people's names, by the way, is just because I've been around them more so. But this is another photo we submitted, and it's screened in like a conference room, and like the guy who was doing like judging all the photos is like ripping into like other people's that were actually like really good. I was like, I don't know what he's gonna say about this. And it was like, and thankfully we had to they had to speed run through it, and we had actually one person who was voting for us the whole time, which was really surprising, and she couldn't explain why she liked it either, because I don't blame her. It's also strange. This is what gave me the idea for Invert Ellenberg. But
Speaking of strange, I get a Doctor Strange vibe looking at it.
oh yeah, I guess with the buildings and stuff.
The
Yeah,
buildings and the hands, like the multiple hands.
yeah, that's actually Isaac.
Yep.
What's Isaac's last name so I can like properly credit him? But
Oh my gosh. I want to say
Hanson.
it starts with an H, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Isaac Hinson. I feel really
Yeah,
bad.
I wanted to say Hanson, which is your name, and I was like, they might have the same last name.
No, but yeah, I mean, I really love Isaac. He's a cool dude. But these two hands are his, and this is Morgana's from the Observer. So and we just took that in the street, and so it was fun.
I actually thought those hands were like part of the editing process. I thought like you somehow managed to like layer and cut hands and put them around her. I didn't think those were actually like in the photo.
No, yeah, no, we just I was just like hide behind her and put your hands. And I have no real reasoning for why I wanted to do that photo. Like I don't have like a deep reason. I just had the idea for the visual, and I was like, this would be. I was like, I'd like this a lot for whatever reason it pleased my brain. And then, yeah, and the photo editing process for that was really fun too, because it was like desaturating certain colors and then making others pop more and just simplifying the color scheme. So yeah, it's like even though it's not in the magazine, it's actually like one of my favorites I've personally done. But yeah, and then I can show can I show one last one really fast?
You show whatever you want to show.
Okay, thank you.
We're
So
here for it.
I feel like a little kid in like show and tell or something like that.
You got it, because it's like, I mean, you gotta get appreciation, because I'm not sure people realize how hard this is and how much work actually goes into this.
No, that's very true. And like, yeah, I mean, I always think I'm always like, oh, there's more room for this and this and improvement. But yeah, there's been a lot of days in a row too, or like weeks where I like come back home and I think probably the same with you with like doing Central News Watch and doing this podcast and everything else, like where you're just like dead tired.
Yeah,
like,
it takes a lot. I mean, it takes a lot out of you. I don't sometimes, those Central News Watch stories that we do and editing these podcasts, they take hours to edit sometimes. Even if you think it's just a straightforward process, it's really not.
Yeah, no, I believe it, especially editing stuff myself. I've seen you guys in the building and I'm like in Lynn Hall like late at night. I'm like, they are working very hard right now.
Yeah.
But these are photos that did not make the magazine. And this is actually, I guess it was a good lesson for me to learn in a weird way. But so we had a story, I won't say what the subject was on, but I misinterpreted what the subject was about.
Oh no.
And I did this photo, and they were like, "These are cool, but these just don't like." It wasn't offensive in any way. It just didn't like make sense for what the story was. I just won't say it. Just I don't think it's like that important. But we did these, and like this is this is Allie. I used to work with her at my job, but this is just a random photo. Sorry, that's my roommate.
That was pretty cool too.
Thank you. Yeah, this one is. We just took this for fun, and I just like masked his face, and yeah.
Looks a little demonic.
Oh yeah, it's definitely yeah. If I had like complete creative freedom, a lot of my stuff would be way darker and creepier. Kind of like.
I like that. I like the really dark aesthetic.
Thank you. Yeah, that's something I try to sneak it in once in a while. Which has actually been cool. I've kind of do that more this quarter, but yeah, there's these photos, and yeah, these are some of my favorites too, and they're not in the magazine, understandably, so we had to do new photos for them. But yeah, they're just very strange, and yeah, this is like she can actually do this with her skin. This is edited a bit, like I went puppet warp and just kind of dragged her eye down a bit and stuff. But like her pulling her face, this photo is like it's edited like in Lightroom, but there's no Photoshop. Like this is all.
I've
That's
seen
all
these on
fake.
your Instagram, and I did wonder how much those were actually edited.
Yeah, like the colors and stuff were like manipulated a decent a bit, but this one is like not edited at all. She can just do
Yeah.
that, and so which is like insane, but it's really cool. But I just want to show those off because I felt that I was like, yeah, they didn't make a magazine, but thank you for helping me shoot. So I was like, at
Yeah.
least I have something to share them through.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was cool. Yeah, and I think are there any other ones of these? Yeah, I mean, yeah, those are pretty much the ones that I think would be like good to get a sneak peek of now. That I've done. There's some from the past quarter, but yeah, and my dad, which is this. But yeah, that's about it.
Oh, Cleveland Browns fan.
Exactly. See, you can see
Brownie the elf.
There he is.
There he is, Brownie the elf. I got a Cleveland Browns jersey back there.
Oh, you do? He's actually switching because isn't it like I don't keep up with football, but aren't the Browns are like getting better, right? So it's like less fun to root for them.
They might be on a schneid again, though, unfortunately.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's he's not playing with them anymore because he's playing with like 49ers.
He's with the Rams at the moment, but I don't even know. He's technically a free agent right now, I think, because he got traded and then he got cut by the team that he got traded to and then picked up by the Rams. And now I don't know what's going on with him. But that's the thing is that's a Mayfield jersey. And it's because everyone says I look like Baker Mayfield.
Oh, I kind of see it with the beard and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. When my hair is shorter and I wear a headband, people call me Baker. I think I've talked about it on the show before. People don't even know me as Evan. Some people just call me Baker.
That's hilarious. Do you
Yeah.
like being compared to Baker Mayfield?
I mean, yeah, I'm being compared to
He's
an
a
NFL
good
quarterback.
dude.
It's got to be
Yeah.
cool, right? And all the
Uh,
commercials and stuff.
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. He's cool. Yeah. I think I heard some stuff that like I don't know that he had like the ego or whatever. But I don't know. I don't really. That's from me like listening to like my dad, talking about football.
Yeah,
But,
no, I like the comparison. I think it's funny. I mean, it would be odd if someone said I look like Russell Wilson. So I guess Baker Mayfield makes more sense.
yeah. You should be like people will call me Gronk. I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I actually know a couple people who I feel like look like Gronk. It's kind of funny.
Oh, just a very huge
Well,
neck.
if you
Yeah.
guys want to see those pictures, make sure to pick up the magazine that'll be coming out next week, not this upcoming week. This will be out on Monday, and that'll be Monday the 6th, I believe. Yes, Monday the 6th is when this episode comes out. So yeah, be sure to hop on that and check out the magazine when it comes out next week. It's all good. Because I wanted to bring something up. So last week, Deacon and I, because it was just us, we did a wheel spin of it was like media. And I want to go back and I want to redact my last one of my choices that I made. And essentially it was like there was 8 forms of media that we would spin and we had to pick. And if it landed on, we had to pick one thing from that form of media that we would watch for the rest of our life. So like I landed on a book series, a TV series, a video game, and music. So I picked for my video game, I said Red Dead Redemption 2. I guess that'll be the only game I play for the rest of my life. So it's like that, right? For the TV show, I chose Game of Thrones, and I don't even like Game of Thrones that much. It's just I just picked it strictly on being close in proximity because I have a box set in my DVD or my Blu-ray collection over there. So in retrospect, right next to me, I'm taking it back. I want to pick The Simpsons. I'm picking The Simpsons because The Simpsons is my favorite TV show of all time. I love every single episode. They're always funny. and there's like 38 seasons, so I'll be set for life if I pick The Simpsons. So just wanted to go back and redact that. I guess if you had to pick one thing, like one maybe movie series, TV series, a book, video game, something, an artist to listen to for the rest of your life, who would it be? What would it be?
This is so hard. The Simpsons also is a good choice for a TV show because there's just so much of it.
Yeah.
And it's like so good. Oh my gosh, this is hard. I listen to so much different types of stuff, depending on like the mood I'm in or just like what I want to listen to or watch.
Like for reference, I can tell you, I picked because I landed on Red Dead because I picked video games, so he didn't get to pick a video game, so he'll never get to play video games again for the rest of his life. Sucks for him. So I picked Red Dead. I picked The Simpsons. Now I picked The Weeknd for my music because I landed on music, and then I picked the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books because I landed on books, and those are the only books I've read in my life.
I love it. They're pretty good though. They're pretty good choices. I gotta admit. I've heard a good choice for a movie, even though it's like not my favorite. I still really, really like love it. But actually, I'll pick it since I have the poster in the background. I'll pick wait, let me go this way. Army of Darkness for the movie. Even though I would get very sick of that, but it's so much fun. At least it's like an insane medieval like horror comedy. It's got so many genre elements that I think that'd be for my choice for movies at least. Yeah.
I love that. What about a TV show? Someone who is into film. What TV show would you pick? There's not a lot of TV shows that really utilize like the integrity of like film technique, TV shows are always way more focused on story and stuff like that. So it's like the cinematography in TV shows isn't nearly the same as it is in a really well shot movie.
That's very true. Yeah, it's like they just have so much. I don't know what it's like to shoot a TV show at all or a movie, but it feels like it just has to be so much more economic in the way they cover their scenes, and so it's a little less like it's a little bit more like standard coverage. But I mean, the cool thing now is that we do get a lot of television shows like The Last of Us.
Right.
I need to catch up on the last episodes. And other shows probably like Game of Thrones. I've not seen it sadly, but and like Breaking Bad, another show that I still need to finish. I've seen the first and last seasons, which I kind of.
How does that work?
I saw the first season as a kid, and then when the last season was happening, I just decided I watched it with my parents. I was like, "This is great," and then like I don't know what to do.
I'll get caught up in the middle at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'm circling around the answer too. For TV show, this is such a basic answer, but it's just because I grew up watching it and we watched it a lot, so I know I could kind of not get sick of it to an extent. Is The Office?
I was expecting The Office. Once you said basic, I was like, he's gonna say The Office.
Yeah, it's the most basic. It's one of the most basic. I could have said that or like Friends, and it would have been like pretty even like basic.
Tomato.
Yeah, Scott's Tots episode though is still like people joke about The Office being a basic show, but that episode is horrifying. Like it's so horrible what he does. It's really funny. But yeah,
it's a good show. It's a really good show.
Yeah,
and like it's same with Simpsons. There's a lot there. You got a lot of seasons you can go through over and over and over.
Exactly. I think season 3 of The Office is the funny. First 2, trying to be too much like the British, and then season 3 through season 7 for Michael Scott leaves. Like pretty much perfect.
I actually have never seen all of it. I ended at like season 5, so maybe I'll circle the wagons and get caught up on it.
Just finish it to where Michael Scott leaves, and then if you want to see some more Jim Pam stuff, watch the last 2 seasons. But the last 2 seasons are not nearly like as good. Like they're okay. They do a decent job at pulling out with Steve, not using Steve Carell anymore, but is not nearly as good.
Yeah, I'll have to get on that. I got a whole list of things I need to watch still. Well, Dylan, I can't thank you enough for your time, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on and highlighting a lot of the tough work that you guys do. And you guys are, I'm going to say it, you guys are warriors in this landscape of media that we do here at Central, because you guys are putting in the work kind of undercover. People don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. So this is a little highlight to show the kind of work that you guys do. And I can't wait to pick up the magazine and read it.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and I definitely, yeah, I really appreciate that. I think, for everybody else, they would like really appreciate that too. Yeah, and I'm really excited for everybody to see it. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It was awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe even next week we get you on here with Noah and maybe some of the designers too to kind of could do a full reveal of everything and talk about each little story, maybe some writers too. That next week could be the biggest Zoom podcast episode we have, but I'm not gonna make any promises because every time we do, it just seems to fall apart. So for now, we'll say next week we're definitely gonna be talking about the issue. With who, not sure yet, but if you are interested, you're more than welcome to come back and we would love to have you.
That'd be awesome. Even if like I'm just sitting there in my little Zoom box, like I'm totally down. But it sounds awesome.
Your two
Yeah.
Zoom boxes, your mic
I
Zoom
do.
box and your Zoom box.
Yeah, because even though I bought this computer this year and like I saved up money to buy it, and for whatever reason I'm just dumb and I can't get these settings right for my mic. So yeah, I'll have my two Zoom boxes. Yeah,
Well, we found a workaround, so it's all good.
perfect. Well, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, man. Make sure you guys check out everything Student Media, Central News Watch on Facebook, Instagram, as well as The Observer. You can pick it up every single week. New issues coming out. And very soon, the Pulse Magazine. And of course, the Student Media Podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.